Hello everyone, welcome to the dojo. It is Star Wars Dojo here today with a brand new video. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. It has been a long time since I have made a video, since I've done a breakdown video, everything. The series finale of the Bad Batch came out yesterday and I have not done any of the breakdowns. I've just been so busy, but I did want to do a season breakdown and that's what this is, and then eventually I will do a series breakdown as a whole. But we're gonna go straight into this final episode and I'm gonna kind of just skim over what happened this season and then mainly focus on this final episode. Let's get into it. So in the earlier part of the season, we see Omega is stuck in Hemlock's lab and is used essentially as a lab rat. We see her and Crosshair develop a relationship and escape the prison. And we also get to see a new Star Wars game, never been shown before. It's a new Star Wars card game that was first premiered on the Bad Batch. And throughout the season, we get to see that bond be made again between the brothers. And of course, they don't trust Crosshair right off the bat, but Omega trusts him the entire way through. And we get to see our boy Echo again. And we also get to see Rex and Hauser. I was so excited when we got to see Rex. The boys end up meeting up with Fennec Shan to get information on where Hemlock's lab is because Omega ended up giving herself up to the Empire to save her brothers. And we also got to see Palpatine, which was so freaking cool. I love seeing Palpatine in this animation. We never got to see any lightsaber fights or anything like that, but being able just to see Palpatine get off the ship and go into Hemlock's lab and check everything out, it was super cool. And one of the coolest parts of this season is we get to see Asajj Ventress again, and I guess they retconned her dying in the Clone Wars, which I thought was very odd, but I'm okay with it. She's a really cool character, and we get to see her yellow lightsabers and a whole episode about learning that Omega is Force sensitive. Ventress does a test on her and tries to see how strong she is in the Force, and she says that Omega is very weak, but that she does have the potential to have a strong midichlorian count. We get to see the insides of Hemlock's lab and the lockdown part of it as he brings Omega in, and he has other children there that I assume are Force sensitives. Omega ends up finding a way to break out between the prison walls, and she ends up escaping with the other kids. They release the Zillo Beast. Crosshair ends up getting his shooting hand cut off. Omega helps Echo release the imprisoned clones, and we see Nala Se gives up her life, destroying the laboratory with all the databanks of all the midichlorian blood samples to save Omega's future and the work of all the Kaminoans. We get a very suspenseful scene of Crosshair and Hunter at the end of a bridge watching Hemlock hold Omega hostage. He has a handcuff on her wrist and is threatening to jump off, and if he gets shot, he falls, that she'll fall with her. While Crosshair, with his offhand, makes a perfectly timed shot when Omega stabs Hemlock with her needle. He shoots the handcuffs off and they end up shooting Hemlock, ends up leading to him falling to his death. She runs to her brothers, they walk away, and Hunter and Crosshair were near death. Like, they could barely walk, they were completely exhausted, and they were pretty much done fighting. Omega and her brothers and all the other clones end up escaping, and shortly after, two Venators followed behind a Star Destroyer show up. This is just really showing that the Empire at this point is now evolved. This is the first Star Destroyer we're really seeing now in the series. And then we see the infamous Star Destroyer closing in front of the camera from a top-down view. And this is signifying that the Empire is now developed. Grand Admiral Tarkin shows up, and he's been made very clear that nothing is salvageable. Everything from Hemlock's lab is burned, and there's no trace of any midichlorian blood samples, nothing. So he ends up shutting the entire facility down, permanently banning anyone from being able to go in there. And he used all the funds that had been going to Hemlock's lab and research conduction. And he says now that funds are going to be used for Project Stardust. And so if you don't know what Project Stardust is, that is essentially the plans of the Death Star. So all the funds that have been going into that are now going to be going to build the Death Star, which is pretty cool. We see Omega and the clones and her brothers all escaped from Hemlock's lab. They are on the planet of Pabu, and that is where they permanently reside. We see Hunter and Omega sitting underneath a tree, and it's a very heartwarming, touching ending. We see Echo leave and go on to another mission. Wrecker and Crosshair sit next to them, and we get like a final family photo of the Bad Batch. Everything fades dark, and we see a new version of planet Pabu, where everything's developed and built and there's a city. And then we see an older version of Omega. Several years went by. It was a total time leap. And we see an old version of Hunter, and he's been waiting for her, and he knew she was going to sneak out. And he's like, just because you think I'm old, you think all my senses are gone, do you? She explains to Hunter that she wants to become a rebel, and she wants to go be a pilot for the rebellion. And Hunter doesn't want her to leave, and it's so heart-throbbing. It's touching, you know, and he explains to her that she will always be their kid, you know, no matter what. And I absolutely love this show. Before Omega gets on the ship, Hunter tells her that if they need her or need anything, they will always be there. And as Omega gets on the ship, I want to point this out. I didn't see anybody talk about this, but we see that same bunny rabbit that Omega made in the prison, and it's out of grass, but it's all black and red, white face with red eyes. This one made me teary-eyed. Omega goes and sits in the cockpit, and we see Tech's glasses there on the dash. And this is signifying that back when Tech taught Omega how to pilot, or how to be a pilot and how to fly a ship. He was the one who taught her that. And we see in season 2 that Tech is one of the best pilots that have ever been. And it's just really cool that they bring this back, and we see Omega, you know, pay attention to that. And we don't know if Tech is really dead. I believe he is, but it would be cool if he returns. And there was an enemy in this season that looked very similar to Tech's armor and goggles, and I wonder if they cloned him, but I doubt it. The show ends with Omega flying from the planet of Pabu towards the moon. That was the end of the episode. It was an amazing show. I absolutely love this show. Dave Filoni, shout out to him. Shout out to Michelle Ang for voicing Omega. Shout out to D. Bradley Baker for voicing like the entire cast. Shout out to Fat Mace. I love Fat Mace. But in all seriousness, this show meant a lot to me. I really enjoyed it. You know, as me being a YouTuber making, you know, these breakdown videos from the very first season, I had a hard time with it because I didn't know how to do it, and obviously me learning a lot now, but lately I've been so busy and I couldn't do any of the breakdowns for this, and I'm gonna do an overall show review in the next video, but I kind of want to do this breakdown really quick so I can get it out there. But I love this show. It is amazing. I can't wait to see what we get next and see the story of Omega and the clones and find out what happened with Rex and Echo. And there's still so much to be told, and it was an amazing show. It was an absolute 10 out of 10 show. I absolutely love this animation style. It has always been my favorite, and I always watch this show when I'm on breaks at work, and this show means a lot. I love it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown video, and I will be uploading another video here shortly, so be looking for that, and I will see you guys later, and may the Force be with you always.